Now tonight on Bite Size Pictures, we're just shaking things up for you because not only do we have a guest co-host joining us, Rick Navarro, we also have a budding film director making his debut with Bite Size Pictures. Now, Joshua Hoareau is in fact a multi-award-winning film director whose passion for the industry started way back when he was a kid, when he made his first film about a story which he wrote himself. From there, his passion for the industry continued to grow and develop, so much so that he went on to fine-tune his skills at Deakin University. So with that, let's head to the studio now and meet with Rick Navarro and Joshua Hoareau.
Joshua, welcome to Bite Size Pictures. Now, I'm going to take you back to your teenage years and think about that seminal moment when you really realised you wanted to be a filmmaker.
Well, it pretty much started, I'd say in year 9. For one of my media assignments, I had to do a project and we could do anything we wanted. And I chose to do a film. Pretty much that fell apart really quickly as I realised doing a full feature film in a matter of about 8 weeks for a year 9 was pretty hard. So I ended up doing a trailer for a little film called The Arctic Wars. We shot some stuff that looked really bad. and yeah, from there I kind of really didn't do anything until year 12. So for year 12 media, I really got into it and I did a film called Remnants of Chernobyl. It was a short film, very similar to the Bourne Identity kind of film. And that there ended up getting put into Australian Top Design. And it was kind of from there that I realised, okay, I want to do film, this is what I want to do. I mean, up until that point I wanted to be a lawyer. So it was kind of, I was sitting in my legal exam and I was halfway through and I thought, nah, you know what?
So you actually got to the exam room.
I got to the exam.
You were sitting in the exam and you realised.
And I kind of looked at my exam and I was halfway through, I'm like, screw it, I'm doing film. And so I just kind of, after that, all the pressure just went away. And then went straight into film from there.
So you went into Deakin Uni, is that right?
Yeah, that's correct, yeah.
So you studied film and digital media.
That's correct, yeah.
And you paid your way through uni by stacking boxes at a Woolworths distribution centre?
Pretty much. I was paying off all my gear. So I started investing in a bit of gear and started paying it off. So I was working at Safeway and then in my free time trying to just get stuff out on YouTube and get new equipment. I'm a bit of a tech. I love my technology. So
you were also honing your skills in terms of corporate photography, working for some branding.
Yeah.
So how do you think that intersects with your filmmaking?
Well, I think it gave me a really good insight into how to work under pressure, how to work for somebody else. So obviously up till that point, I was kind of doing my own stuff, had my own deadlines. There was no real rush for anything. This year it was like, you need to have this done by this date. Otherwise, that's it. And so I was kind of like, cool, working with pressure, it really helped get in that atmosphere of, when you're working, especially, when time is money on a film set, you need to be able to organise things really well and just really be on point. And,
so you mentioned before social media and
Yep.
getting content out on social media.
Yeah.
Tell me about how important social media, in particular YouTube and Vimeo channels, for independent filmmakers.
It's one of the best forms of advertisement. I mean, there's so many people on social media and you have so many different social media platforms. You got Facebook, MySpace, used to be Twitter, so many different things that you can get your work out there anywhere. And it's a great way to then get on terms of crowdfunding because you can be like, hey, this is what I'm doing. Would you like to be involved? Would you like to do something with it? So it's definitely something that's where you should start getting stuff on the
So you have this interplay with the public even before the film is actually produced.
Yeah, for example, I have a film getting done called Fallen Winter. And that there actually started because I was doing a showreel for an actor, Adam Bramich, and we did some photos. And one of the photos I thought, hey, this will look cool as a poster. Did it up as a poster, chucked a name on it, Fallen Winter, and thought that was it. Started getting all these people liking it, asking me, when's this film coming out? I'm like, uh-oh. I've got a fan base for it now. I've got to make this film.
So you'd created anticipation for something that didn't exist.
Didn't exist, and then it kind of worked out well because it ties in with because I want to do a feature from this Chernobyl. It actually ties in, so I figured, hey, that works well. But it just shows how people are really on board. People want content, and they check social media for it. It's why it's the first thing we get up and do in the morning. We check Facebook. Why? We want to see what's going on.
Yeah. So tell me about your genre. What's your favourite genre?
Oh, I got so many, but probably my favourite is science fiction. Science fiction and fantasy. I think it's because science fiction and fantasy, especially science fiction, it allows you to go to places that just don't exist. It allows you to do things that you just normally can't do in real life. So especially with film, if you do a drama or, a romance or whatever you do, you're grounded to this is the way the world works, this is the way the world is. But with sci-fi, you can do anything you want. You know, it doesn't have to be Earth, it doesn't have to be humans, it can be anything. So it really allows you to do really different things with your story. And yeah.
So one of the recent projects you've undertaken is Peacekeeper.
Yep, that's correct.
And that weaves three central social issues currently at the moment. So we've got homelessness, we've got post-traumatic stress disorder for returning soldiers, and children who end up in the sex trade. So what was the impetus for weaving those three themes into the one movie?
Yeah, well, pretty much as part of the competition, which was Screen My Shorts Project Homeless, part of the competition was that we were given a list of themes and we had to choose two, and then on the day the competition started, because we had 28 days to make the film, they would tell us which theme we had. So we chose environmental disaster and returning war veterans. And then when we got told returning war veterans, I thought, okay, cool. I want to be able to try and tackle more than just, you know, just that topic. And because the festival was about homelessness, I thought, okay, well, I want to tackle homelessness. I want to tackle returning war veterans and the things they go through. And then I thought, you know what, I want to tackle, you know, child trafficking, and you know, it kind of all worked in the story, because they're three really serious issues, and you know, I wanted to show that this is stuff that's going on every day, you know, and this is the kind of stuff, and this is how it affects, you know, people on all these different levels.
Was it an emotionally charged experience for you and the crew?
It was. I mean, when we were writing it, especially one of the writers, Jay Maines, he has a lot of friends who are in the military, so we actually got to speak to some people who were peacekeepers, and you know, some of the stuff they told us, it was pretty disturbing, and you know, it was hard listening to that, but we took that on and kind of tried to, you know, implement our knowledge into the film for that. Yeah, so I mean, one of the main things is halfway through filming, we actually heard on the news about when the Boko Haram kidnapped all those girls, and we're like, this is exactly what our film, it's that kind of same thing, and it happened while we're filming. So it was something that kind of impacted a lot of the cast and the crew, because we did have a lot of people from Africa that were working on the film.
Situation of life imitating art, in a way.
Sadly enough, we had someone on set who actually had family over there that a week earlier had all been killed in pretty much a very similar situation. So, you know, we were talking to them, and it was, I think for them to see the set and everything going on, it was, you know.
So looking at that particular movie and the body of your work, it appears to me that one of the really strong tenets is your focus on musical score.
Yeah.
So tell me about why you place such an emphasis on music and how you go about the process.
Yeah. Well, I think with film, really, it doesn't matter how good your film is, it's only going to be 50%. If you don't have sound, that's, you know, that's 50% of what filming is today anyway. And so music plays a huge role. You know, you add, depending on the kind of music, you can make a scene funny, sad, scary, you know, it's all up to the music. So for that there, we have my composer, Richard LeBroy. For me, I see him as the next Hans Zimmer. He's just really got some great stuff out there and has a real instinct for
magnificent composition
yeah.
for that particular piece. So, in fact, last year you entered your short film Arrival into the Western Sci-Fi competition.
Yep.
And you took out a number of awards for that because you produced it, directed, wrote it.
Yeah.
You were the chief on everything. So what did you gain particularly from being very hands-on from that experience? Stress,
sleepless nights. No, I mean, it was a great experience trying to tackle everything at once. It's something I've been trying to do over my time as a filmmaker. You know, you need to do a bit of everything at some point, because how can you be expected to tell people how to do it, or, you know, work with people who are doing it when you've never experienced it yourself? So for this year, obviously, once again, we had 28 days. So for me, it was, you know, it was fun trying to do it all in 28 days and just tackle it all on myself.
So tell me about, who are your role models? Who are your inspirations in the industry?
Okay, so obviously, you know, the classics, Christopher Nolan, all that kind of stuff. Probably my two big main ones, I'll say Peter Jackson first, because obviously he's not an American filmmaker, he's a New Zealand filmmaker. And for me, you know, looking at the industries, the Australian industry and the New Zealand industry were very similar. And for him to be able to achieve what he's achieved coming out of that industry and not having to go to America to achieve it, you know, it's something that I think it's really good for us here in Australia to strive for, you know. And on the other side of that is Ridley Scott. So I really, really like Ridley Scott's style. I like his blend of storytelling and making, you know, successful films that are widely liked by audiences. So.
So where do you see your personal journey? So tell me about Joshua in 5 years' time.
Well, hopefully if everything goes according to plan, I will be heading up to LA at the end of this year. We actually had, from arrival, we had a few keen parties interested in doing some stuff with it, so we're going up there to talk about that. And just obviously I need to build some contacts with producers and things like that. But I'm hoping in 5 years, I don't know, maybe Cine Studios is no longer just a national company or a state company, sorry, international, and kind of doing big stuff.
So based on your experience and your roller coaster ride to get to the point where you are now, what's your one bit of golden advice to aspiring filmmakers?
Ooh. Okay, the one golden rule I tell to filmmakers, actors, anyone in the industry: do as much work as you can. Get on. It doesn't matter if it's paid, it's free, it's a student film, it's someone's first time doing anything. Get on it. Get experience. The more and more you do, the better it is. Since I graduated uni, I've not been asked to see my degree once by any film job. They say, I want to see the work you've done. And if you haven't done that, you know, the theory means nothing. Do as much work as possible, get your hands-on experience in every part of the film industry, and then figure out which bit of that you want to pursue, and then pursue it.
Excellent advice, and a really nice point to finish on. Joshua, thank you for joining us on Bite Size Pictures tonight.
Thanks for having me.
And for all of you out there, if you want to catch up on extra footage, go to our website, www.bitesizepictures.com, or visit our Facebook page.